I've got some more tournament replays coming up for you guys this upcoming week, but before we started on that, I figured why not showcase some fun courtesy of SladeX. One of my favorite memers in the Total War Warhammer community is coming in with an absolutely wild Skaven build. He's got 5 rank 9 Warpfire throwers, Tretch leading the way. He's also got 5 Poison Wind Globes, Rat Ogres, the Regiment of Renowned Rattling Guns here, 1 unit of Wolf Rats, and he's up against the Greenskins, led by Azag the Slaughter up in the sky. We've got a bunch of Stone Trolls here, and some Savage Orc Air Boys, Night Goblins in the front. As their enemy, it won't show me if they're Fanatics, but most likely they are. Fanatics are quite strong if you use them correctly. You've also got some Squig Herds there, and already vanguarding in the sides, some Squig Hoppers being nicely counteracted by those Rat Ogres. One of these Poison Wind Globes also going to turn and fire there. Do some pretty decent damage, but it's not going to stop the Squig Hoppers from making contact, and at least interrupting momentarily these units, but we all know what you guys want to see, what you all came here for, right? Which is to watch the great roasting unfold. Oh, that beautiful green Warpfire just roasting the Greenskins. It's an all-green barbecue out here today. Poison Wind Globes just adding that nice little bit of flavor there, and that is going to instantly shatter that unit of goblins. The Stone Trolls, of course, do have some missile resistance that will apply in this circumstance, but that low leadership definitely going to be heavily debuffed. Although they do get into contact with these weapons teams here, multiple units, and are going to start to cause some problems. Rat Ogres immediately reacting. A little bit of Spirit Leech on Tretch as he countercharges Azag, as Azag comes to the ground. Of course, anti-large, decent melee defense makes Tretch surprisingly formidable target for Azag to try and deal with. Azag does not have a lot of melee, HP. His melee stats are not amazing, and he's definitely going to be taking some damage from these Rattling Guns, so he kind of flies around here. The initial engagement is pretty much played out. Poison Wind Globes and the Warpfire throwers have mostly warded off the Greenskins' advance, but of course, with Trolls, you're going to have regeneration, and they'll come back for a second wave. These Squigs also scattering away and then coming back around for a second push here. All that armor piercing is very dangerous to these squishy weapons teams, so let's see how they can continue to perform here as the Trolls continue to close the door. Azag once again getting counteracted well by the Rat Ogres, but at least temporarily occupying those Teeth Breakers. They're quite threatening to him, but Stone Trolls are going to shatter under fire from the Poison Wind Globes. Low leadership definitely hurting them pretty severely at this point. The balance of power is quite far against the Greenskins, but should actually start to recuperate a little bit as these Trolls and other armor-piercing units eat up the weapons teams, which have basically no melee capability whatsoever. This Stone Troll, point blank, just taking these Rattling Gun blasts and not really caring too much due to that missile resistance. And so with that and the healing, they should be able to sustain this assault, and already the balance of power significantly equalizes as a lot of these units start to come back. But great blocking by Slade here with these Rat Ogres to come forward, and then following up with the Poison Wind Globes. Pretty much all of the, we do have some Warpfires coming back, but missed a critical engagement as Tretch was able to actually fight Azag momentarily, get some swings in his back, and with Azag so low, it's going to be tough for the Greenskins to keep their leadership intact. Nice Waz popped across the field, though, going to give a pretty decent damage spike as the Squig Herds and Goblins try and work through. These Rat Ogres are definitely proving to be very, very important, but most of the weapons teams are completely shut down at this point. Certainly that one there, that Poison Wind Globe, is definitely going to have some problems, but the balance power heavily favoring Skaven for the time being, mostly because they do have some of these tattered units still intact, and even though they've taken huge HP damage, they still have more than half of their unit models online in many cases. With missile units, that means, of course, that when you start shooting, they will shoot with all of those models doing their full damage, right? So quite impactful potentially. But Stone Troll's leadership just having a hard time at this point. A number of units having some general leadership issues, but let's see. A little bit of Spirit Leech there. Azag should definitely not dive here. He is much too low to be diving. He's best suited to just stay in the sky, continue Spirit Leeching, see if he can finish Tretch off. But things are not looking good overall for the Greenskins, as the Rat Ogres manage to stand against the Squigs and whatnot, taking some Archer fire from Savage Orc Air Boys, but Azag drops in and he hits army losses before he can get roasted, unfortunately. That was going to be a juicy shot there from those Warpfire throwers. So, relatively quick one today from Slade. Absolutely madness. In terms of the build here, not even a caster to speak of, but who needs it when you have all this? And of course, some people are going to scoff at the 5 Poison Wind Globes. Yes, it's definitely the component of this build I would say that's quite strong, alongside the 4 Rat Ogres. I mean, this is something you might see in a lot of competitive builds to a degree, but I mean, rank 9 Warpfire throwers, guys, come on. Absolutely beautiful. Tactically, leadership damage was pretty nice, even if they didn't pay for themselves in terms of raw damage. The Rattling Guns did, though. Nice to see there. And, the Rat Ogres contributing very nicely also. Get some very solid value. Rat Ogres are in a really good spot. Probably best they've ever been right now. For the Greenskin side, I mean, there's not really a lot to say. Some of the Stone Trolls do manage to actually get some pretty good value once they get into contact. A lot of these units are going to struggle to even get close with that kind of overwhelming offensive firepower, or in this case, defensive firepower. You know what I mean. Now, taking a look at the Warpfire rank 9 cost, actually, a couple of them did up coming pretty close to paying for themselves, which is fairly remarkable. I'd forgotten that Warpfire throwers were actually so cheap base cost, which makes them a pretty interesting unit, I think. If Poison Wind Globes get nerfed, which they definitely should in an upcoming patch, you might see more Warpfire throwers coming out in certain matchups, especially against lighter infantry. But I wanted to go back and talk about Rat Ogres because they really haven't had a lot of changes from their Game 2 iteration. The biggest thing is being reduced down to 700 cost. I think they got like a very minor melee attack buff, but then more significantly, of course, with the change to Ultra 8 HP pools, they got more models and thus more HP overall, which just makes them a little bit more sustainable. One of the biggest issues previously with Rat Ogres was their low leadership, and general squishiness meant that they could be routed very easily, right? They had literally had the nickname Route Ogres for that specific reason. But in this iteration with the lesser cost, it just makes it that much more cost effective, and it kind of shows how it's a relatively thin margin typically for a unit to be not cost effective or very cost effective. And then also, generally Ultra HP pools, it's buffed certain units more than others, and I haven't really sat down to think about what exactly that totally means, what it looks like, but it definitely has changed things, that much I can say. Anyway, that's it for me for today, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.